dream season is now complete. The Golden State Warriors are the 2015 NBA champions. Their first title in 40 years. And how sweet it must be for those crazy loyal Bay Area fans.
In the heart of the Bay Area, a dynasty was born. This is the story of the Golden State Warriors, a team that rose from the ashes to dominate the NBA like never before.
There's the buzzer. There's a new dynasty in the NBA. The Golden State Warriors champions once again, back-to-back titles, 3 in 4 years, and the latest with a sweep. Boy, these Warriors are ready to celebrate. And that'll do it. It's over. The Golden State Warriors return to a familiar place. They're on top of the NBA world. The 4th title in 8 years. The Dubs dynasty is still very much alive.
Curry is the best player in the world. This brother is on another level.
Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green.
These finals are about Golden State being the best team in the history of basketball.
In the past decade, the Golden State Warriors have become a dynasty. What once was a bottom-of-the-barrel franchise has turned it all around. They've won 4 NBA championships, set the record for the most wins in an NBA regular season, and revolutionized the way that basketball is played today.
Moving around, warm-up 3.
And all season, the Warriors didn't reach 60 as Thompson hits it and a foul! Chance for a 4-point play!
Clock at 13. Clay's been that hot.
Curry, long three-pointer. It's good, and the foul! Steph Curry with a chance for a 4-point play, and the lead is cut to 6.
And to Klay, what a flip shot, and he draws the foul. Might get away with that against Orlando, but this is not how you play the final 19 seconds. Sixers are rotating and moving and switching.
So you might be wondering, how did it happen? How did this poverty franchise turn it around all of a sudden and become the NBA's latest dynasty? It all started when they drafted their future superstar Steph Curry
in the 2009
with the 7th pick
NBA
in 2009
draft. The Golden State Warriors select Stephen Curry from Davidson College. That there are so many fans who dislike the Golden State Warriors so much. Actually, the reaction says it all. Nothing against Golden State, but these Knicks fans wanted Stephen Curry, the 6'3" junior guard out of Davidson, who quite simply is the best shooter in the draft.
Last 5 shots, down 11.
Curry's still in the ball game. Richard sits, Jim, with the 2 fouls. He only had 48 fouls all year.
Steph Curry was not projected to become the superstar that he is today. Many analysts did not see potential in him due to his playing style. He relied heavily on shooting 3-point shots, but at the time, point guards in the NBA were solely focused on playmaking. Many believed that Steph wouldn't even be fit to play the point guard spot, and his slim frame wasn't helping his
guys like
either.
Jeff
The three-point shooting
Johnny Flynn,
scouts, but they did not
Ty
see a
Lawson,
future
who we
with it,
expect to
and boy,
declare
were
for
they
the draft
wrong.
today, seen as guys with more upside. And then you have Steph, who's a spectacular shooter, but not a true point.
Question with Steph Curry is he hasn't played the point guard spot his entire life. When you look at the history of the NBA, just like in football and the NFL, most great quarterbacks played that spot from Pop Warner, 3rd, 4th grade on. Now, there are exceptions in basketball, players who've made that transition, but to do it at the highest level in the NBA, no easy task.
And, there he was excelling against virtual college players. It's going to be more difficult against real-life NBA guys.
Yeah, baby.
There were many concerns surrounding Steph Curry, but he didn't let the noise get to him. He put his head down and got to work. He knew what he was capable of. In Steph's rookie season, he outperformed expectations, averaging 17.5 points and 6 assists per game.
Curry jumper right there. Doesn't even need a screen. He can just take him off the dribble. Curry wing jumper. Good. He doesn't need a screen there with Butcher. Well, there's Curry. There's a look. Kicks it tomorrow over to McGetty. And Curry opens up 3 for 3. That's Curry change of pace dribble and the teardrop. Good stuff. Curry for 3. They have been heartbreakers. Curry straightaway 3. Stephen Curry.
Curry goes away from the screen and his jumper's right through. So Steph's got a dozen. Steph Curry 3 is good. Oh, out Steph with a heat check, and he's hot. Curry gets Horford backing up. The ball slipped out of his hands. He made it anyway.
He feels it now. This is fun.
Curry, that long teardrop is in. Steph Curry bombing a 3 right through.
Curry, you got away with carry. What a
goodness.
pass.
Despite the flashes from Curry, the Warriors had a 14-37 record at the All-Star break. Steph was being outshined by his veteran backcourt partner Monty Ellis, who was averaging a career-high 25 points per game. In the second half of Steph's rookie year, the team won 12 games out of 31, still underachieving but showing a bit more improvement. In the last game of the season, Curry exploded for 42 points against the Blazers. Steph ended the year averaging 17.5 points, 5.9 assists, and 4.5 rebounds. This earned him a spot on the first-team All-Rookie team and was the runner-up of the Rookie of the Year award. Despite the rocky season, the solid ending gave Warriors fans hope for the future. The Warriors underwent a couple of changes during the 2009-2010 offseason. They ended up with the 13th seed in the West, which landed them the 6th pick in the NBA draft. They chose Ekpe Udoh, who was known for his shot-blocking ability. The head coach at the time, Don Nelson, was fired and replaced by assistant coach Keith Smart. Additionally, in July of that offseason, the Warriors acquired David Lee in a sign-and-trade deal. Lee was coming off of an all-star season. The Warriors had high hopes for the 2009-2010 season due to the new acquisitions and the potential of their young talent. They were set with fresh names and exciting young talent. The expectations were higher than usual. The 2009-2010 Warriors won 36 games with Monty Ellis, Steph Curry, and David Lee taking control. Monty continued his high-level scoring, averaging 24, while David Lee averaging 16 points. Ekpe Udoh, the 6th pick, had a very quiet rookie season, but showed flashes. Steph Curry's offenses also took a leap, averaging 93% from the line and averaging 18. He continued to rise to the ranks. Curry became a very exciting prospect and showed very promising potential. However, there were still questions about his game. Throughout the entire regular season, he suffered a series of minor ankle injuries. That kept adding up to the point where he needed ankle surgery in the 2011 offseason. This wasn't too big of a concern, and the fans hoped that the injuries would come to an end. The Warriors won 36 games that year and missed out on the playoffs once again. They had a very disappointing ending to their season. Despite a bit of improvement, the Warriors still knew that they needed to fix some things up. Missing the playoffs once again was very disappointing. Unfortunately, rookie head coach Keith Smart was fired. The team still had some exciting pieces but needed to add another spark, and the 2011 draft was the perfect opportunity. The Warriors were intrigued with Klay Thompson, a shooting guard from Washington State. They took the chance on him and selected him with the 11th pick in the draft. Some mock drafts had him dropping in the low first round. Thompson was an elite sharpshooter with the potential to become a lethal perimeter defender. Just like Curry, Klay had a lot of critics and supposed cons to his game. They said that he couldn't dribble, His finishing was suspect, and he wasn't an elite athlete. But the Warriors had more concerns to deal with. What are they going to do with all these guards? Monty Ellis, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson. One was the new kid on the block, and the other one from the remaining two had to go. This was the speculation around the league. All of these questions will soon be answered in the 2010-2011 season. But before the season started, the vacant head coaching job needed to be filled. The Warriors decided to sign Mark Jackson. Mark didn't have prior experience coaching, but was a former player himself who was known for his amazing point guard skills and leadership. The 2011-2012 season was shortened due to the NBA lockout, and the Warriors failed to meet expectations with yet another disappointing season. The team went into the season with the intention of making a spark, but that didn't happen. Monty Ellis averaged 20 points this season, which was 5 fewer points than the year before. David Lee averaged 20 points per game, and Steph Curry only averaged 15. His stats had taken a fall and only played 26 games that year due to injuries. The speculation of Steph becoming a future star was starting to die down. He had suffered 11 separate ankle sprains which continued to pile up. If the pattern continued, many thought he wouldn't be able to play again. The Warriors began to wonder if they could rely on Steph for the future. The question of Monty versus Steph began to rise, and the evidence was pointing towards Monty Ellis. Monty was only 25 years old, a borderline all-star, and didn't have injury problems. The Warriors offered the Milwaukee Bucks Steph Curry in exchange for Andrew Bogut, but the Bucks surprisingly declined. Milwaukee didn't want to take a chance on the injury-prone Steph Curry. Instead, they followed up that offer and traded Monty Ellis and Ekpe Udoh for Bogut. This created a negative reaction from fans and others around the league. The Warriors fans were disgusted with the decision that they chose Curry instead of Monty. Not long after the trade, during Chris Mullin's jersey retirement, Warriors owner Joe Lacob was booed.
And when you speak of Warriors history, there is no one.
As the greatest fans in the NBA, as everyone stated, sometimes change is inevitable and it's going to work out just fine.
This was a big turning point in the Warriors franchise. The front office had just taken a huge risk to build around Curry. They were met with anger instead of cheers. Andrew Bogut was an injury-prone defensive center who didn't even get to play until the following season. Speaking of injuries, Steph Curry was also shut down for the rest of the season because he needed ankle surgery. This was yet another miserable season for the Warriors, and the fans didn't like the direction the franchise was going in. It was looking very suspect, but little did everyone know that they were going in the best direction possible and would soon shock everyone. In April 2012, Bob Myers was promoted to the general manager position just a year after being hired as the assistant general manager. All it took was 12 months to earn the top job. The 2012 NBA draft was very pivotal for the Warriors. To begin the first round, they selected Harrison Barnes with the 7th overall pick. He was an athletic forward coming from UNC who would later evolve into a very key piece for the Golden State Warriors down the line. Additionally, Festus Ezeli was drafted with the 30th overall pick. He would also grow into a valuable asset at the backup center position. Those two picks may have taken the headlines, but the more significant pick was made in the second round. With the 35th pick, the Warriors drafted Draymond Green from Michigan State. Green was an undersized defensive power forward and was overlooked due to his limited ceiling. The Warriors saw his potential and wasted no time in picking him. All 3 draft picks would end up becoming noteworthy players in the NBA. The 2012-2013 season had the highest expectations yet. For some players, this season was make it or break it. Steph Curry had just received a 4-year, $44 million contract extension, so he knew he had to perform.
$44 million, that's essentially $11 million a year for a guy with no ankles. That's a horrible contract.
For Klay Thompson, he also had to show up this year. They had just traded Monty Ellis to give Klay the starting shooting guard spot, so he needed to show what he was capable of.
I do remember when Monty was traded, and I give Monty a ton of credit because, you know, he could have not paid me no mind, and, you know, he's established, the best player on our team. He's established, playing the same position. They drafted 2 guard in the lottery. He could have had a bad attitude about it, but he was a great vet in that sense. And always looked out for us rookies. But when he got traded, I didn't feel the pressure, but I knew that I had an opportunity. And I'll never forget, after he did get traded, we were playing the Kings at Arco Arena, and Steph might have been out that night, but he did come up to me pregame and gave me a really good pep talk. Like, look, this is your time to seize this moment and be yourself, because it's right there for you to take. And that meant a lot to me. He went out his way to tell me that, especially as a 21-year-old rookie. And Steph Curry's telling me that I could be the future two guard of this team. That instilled a ton of confidence in me.
The Warriors' backcourt was set with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, and it was time to make a big splash. The Golden State Warriors did exactly that and started the season hot, winning 22 out of 32 games. Klay Thompson averaged 16 a game at the age of 22. He shot 40% from three and showed promising perimeter defense. Andrew Bogut was inconsistent health-wise, but when he was on the floor, he made a big difference. Harrison Barnes was a very exciting scorer with a phenomenal leaping ability, averaging 9 points a game and shooting 36% from downtown. As for Steph Curry, this was his breakout year, and he had finally taken the leap of becoming one of the best point guards in the league. His 45% three-point shooting was astonishing and instantly shot him up to be one of the greatest three-point shooters in NBA history. The injuries were in the past and no longer haunted him. Curry overcame the injury fears and ascended into a breakout campaign. He averaged 23 points and 7 assists a night. His most iconic performance was his 50-point night against the New York Knicks. This game officially put Curry on the map and was a warning to the basketball world of what he was capable of. He made 11 three-pointers out of 13 attempts. He simply couldn't miss and showed how lethal he was as a shooter. He had a very quick trigger that could stun any defense in seconds.
Curry for the lead. Got it! Steph Curry, smooth. He scored the last 15 in a row for Golden State.
What's happening is they are playing small ball, and that means
Steph Curry set a record-breaking 272 three-pointers, surpassing Ray Allen for the most triples in a season. Steph was no longer the young, unknown prospect of the past, and he was a legitimate all-star talent. The NBA, however, didn't agree, and he wasn't selected to the all-star team. Steph didn't take this well and felt he needed to let his anger out on a bigger stage. The playoffs. The Warriors clinched the 6th seed, winning 47 games in a packed Western Conference. They were set to face a veteran Denver Nuggets team. Game 1 was very suspenseful. Steph Curry hit a clutch three to tie the game, but the Nuggets responded and ended up winning the game. Bad news followed the loss. David Lee injured his hip and would be out for the rest of the playoffs. Lee was an all-star, so this was a very big blow for the team. Losing David wasn't going to be easy, but it gave rookie Draymond Green a chance to step up and show what he was capable of. Golden State swung back after the loss and earned themselves 3 straight victories. The Warriors were now up 3-1 and feeling very confident. The Nuggets ended up winning Game 5, extending the series. Game 6 seemed to be smooth sailing for the Warriors as they were up by 18 points with 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Denver ended up storming back and cutting the lead down to 2 points. Luckily for the Warriors, they held on and escaped with the win. This near collapse in Game 6 showed a major weakness in the Warriors team, and that was how young and inexperienced the team was. This weakness would end up being brought to light in their second-round matchup against the San Antonio Spurs. The Warriors had a very heart-wrenching loss in Game 1. They led by 16 in the fourth quarter, but let their guards down as the Spurs came back and forced overtime and won the game. The Warriors could have easily stolen this game, but got too ahead of themselves, showing their youth. In Game 5, with the series all tied up, the Spurs crushed the Warriors, taking a 3-2 lead. Curry and Thompson both struggled, combining for 13 points on 6 of 22 shooting. The Warriors ran out of gas and ended up losing the series at home. This wasn't the outcome they wanted, but the Warriors fans felt hopeful for the future from what they saw. Steph Curry averaged 23 points in the playoffs and showed that he could lead a team. Despite the sour ending, the Golden State Warriors have shown vast improvement and officially cemented themselves as a team to reckon with in the league. The future looked bright, and for the first time in a while, the team had serious hope. The potential of the backcourt of Klay Thompson and Steph Curry couldn't be ignored. Their lethal shooting from long range wasn't like anything the league has ever seen. The 2013 offseason was very important for the Warriors. The team wanted to land Dwight Howard very badly. They even traded multiple players to clear up roster space. The Warriors weren't able to get Dwight, but amid the bidding wars, they turned their eyes to someone else. Andre Iguodala of the Denver Nuggets was a former All-Star player. Andre would fit perfectly with the team and could help take them to that next level. Golden State signed Iguodala to a 4-year deal, which was a fantastic signing and would bring another seasoned veteran who could impact winning. The Warriors were set for the season with their revamped roster, and they were ready to take another big step.
When I signed with the Warriors 2013, and you do the press conference, you say what you're supposed to say. PC, I'm coming here to try to win a championship.
Right.
Nobody take you serious.
Right.
But I'm saying to myself, I think I've met the closest thing to Jesus Christ. Thinking I'm about to go try to win a championship. And then we win a couple, and then he comes out and he says, y'all better get this now because we're coming back. I think y'all need to start taking Steph more serious when he's talking, because y'all just so used to him being the babyface killer, this nice kid.
Like I was saying, the Warriors had so much confidence going into the 2013-2014 season with high hopes. The team collectively believed that this could be their year, but they had a very slow start that confused everyone. They started with 13 wins and 12 losses, but gained momentum as the season progressed, going on a 10-game win streak and went into the All-Star break 9 games over 500. Steph Curry continued to improve, averaging 24 points per game with 8 assists. Curry was now looked at as a star player, and many believed he was the best point guard in the league. This year, Steph not only made the All-Star team, but was a starter. This was a big achievement considering where he started, and was a testament to the work he has been putting in. Klay Thompson also took a major leap, averaging 18 points while shooting 41% from downtown. He became a top elite shooter. He and Steph became one of the best backcourts in history, and due to their lethal shooting, they earned themselves the nickname the Splash Bros. Draymond Green, their former second-round pick in 2012, started to become a solid contributor off the bench. David Lee and Andrew Bogut held down the front court, while Andre Iguodala was proving to be a two-way leader. The Warriors were stacked and finished the season winning the last 20 of their 29 games, totaling 51 wins. This record earned them the 6th seed once again, setting up a first-round matchup with the Los Angeles Clippers, aka Lob City. The Clippers were a very fierce opponent that was hungry to prove that they were a contender in the West. Chris Paul and Steph Curry would be facing off, and for many, this matchup would decide who the best point guard was. Unfortunately, before the series began, there was bad news for the Warriors. Andrew Bogut, their starting center, suffered a rib fracture and would sideline for the rest of the playoffs. On April 19, 2014, the series began, and the Warriors seemed to be unfazed by the injury. They stunned the Clippers with a 4-point win on the road. Steph Curry and Harrison Barnes showed up significantly down the stretch. The Clippers won Game 2 in a blowout, setting up a Game 3 in Golden State that the Warriors almost won. Down by 6 with under a minute left, Steph Curry turned into a flamethrower, hitting impossible threes that almost brought his team back. However, on his final attempt of the game to seal the win, he missed. Many questioned if Chris Paul got away with a foul. Both teams split the next 2 games, and the Clipper took a 3-2 lead with a do-or-die Game 6 at home. In this game, Andre Iguodala showed up, nailing a 4-point play in crunch time to seal the win. Game 7 was set up to be a nail-biter. The Warriors started hot, splashing threes and leading by double digits at a point. The Warriors looked good and looked like a dynasty about to unleash. Each shot Steph Curry made stunned the crowd. As the halftime timer was expiring, Steph Curry hit an insane half-court shot. The shot didn't count, but it served as a reminder of what Curry was to become. In the third quarter, the Clippers erased a double-digit deficit, and the fourth quarter was down to the wire. The Warriors momentarily took the lead with just a few minutes left, but the Clippers stormed back and took control of the game. The Clippers were too much for Golden State and won the game. This was a very frustrating loss considering the Warriors could have easily won this game. Nevertheless, the team showed major improvement and gained more experience. The Warriors went into the offseason motivated and looking to make some tweaks. They fired head coach Mark Jackson and hired former NBA champion Steve Kerr. This coaching change came as a surprise to the league, considering Mark Jackson was only given 3 seasons and had the Warriors playing well. The team thought that given Kerr's championship experience and play style, he could transform the entire offense into an even bigger superpower.
I remember Steve first coming in, and Steve is implementing his offense. And we're going through training camp, and he's like, Klay, swing the ball. Steph, swing the ball. Move the ball. And like every time we come down the court, he's just like, move it, move it, move it. And I remember asking him, yo, Steph and Klay, like, they get the shots here. How are they going to get these shots? And him saying, the ball will find who the ball is supposed to find. But we're going to move the ball. We're going to be a ball-moving team. With Steve coming in to implement his offense, and it's just ball movement. And originally, we don't quite understand. We're just out there like, oh, man. I remember the grunts, and like everybody's like, yo, this is trash. Like, he just keep telling us to pass the ball. Like, I mean, like, I remember that. That happens. Steve's implementing his new. At that time, what are you thinking? Are you at all worried that you won't have the same freedom, that you won't get the same shots? At that time, what are you thinking with Coach Kerr coming in and none of us could even see like remotely close to the vision that he had for our offense?
Well, I didn't know Steve Kerr, the Blazer, because I was a Blazer fan. So, you know, knockdown shooter, I think all-time leader in three-point field goal percentage. So being a young gunner, I knew he was going to appreciate my skill of being a perimeter player. And I'll never forget Steve, first week of training camp, one of his biggest emphasis was last year we were the last team in passes made per game.
Mm-hmm.
And then that year in 2015, we were the team with the most passes made per game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just unlocked a whole new dimension of basketball I never really seen before, as far as the shooting and the athleticism combined with what we had. It was special, and I think it kind of blitzed the NBA by storm.
The Warriors were ready to take the NBA by storm in the upcoming 2014-2015 season. The Golden State Warriors shocked the entire league, winning a franchise record 67 wins. Steph Curry went from All-Star to winning the MVP award. He averaged 24 points and 8 assists on 44% shooting from downtown. Steph broke the record once again for most threes in a season, hitting 286 of them. Steph Curry became an electrifying superstar and was deemed the greatest shooter of all time, passing Ray Allen. Steph was once viewed as an injury-prone player who would never be on a stage like that, and now 3 years later, he is the best player in the entire NBA.
You're the leader of the team that had the best record in the NBA this season. This is a tribute not just to you, but to the entire organization and the great fans here in the Bay Area. It's also particularly special that you're the first player in 55 years as a Warrior to win the MVP. And the last one was, of course, Wilt Chamberlain. So you're in very special company. So it's my honor and my pleasure to present you Steph Curry with the 2014-15 Kia MVP Award.
Steph didn't act alone. His backcourt partner Klay Thompson also had an outstanding season, averaging a career-high 22 points per game. When he was hot, he was unstoppable. This became clear in a January 15th game versus the Sacramento Kings, where Klay erupted and scored 37 points in one quarter. He made 9 triples and shot 13 for 13 from the field. Thompson held the record for most points in a quarter and became an all-star that year. The Warriors' backcourt duo was elite, but a very overlooked player, which people thought was the glue of the team, was Draymond Green. David Lee had suffered a hamstring injury before the season, and Green took his place. Draymond was a defensive stud, a great playmaker, and a feared nobody. The Warriors secured the first seed, which would set them up to face the New Orleans Pelicans in the first round. Despite the Warriors' regular season success, they still faced many critics. The team's relatively young age and lack of deep playoff experience scared some reporters. This was the Warriors' time to prove themselves and show what they were made of. To start the playoffs, the Warriors swept the Pelicans. Steph averaged 33 and Klay averaged 25. The Warriors didn't play around and handled the Pelicans quickly. Game 3 saw the Warriors essentially ice the series, overcoming a 5-point lead in 15 seconds left. Steph scored 2 threes to force overtime. Steph Curry continued to dominate and shut up the critics. He was slowly becoming the face of the NBA due to his stellar play. In round 2, the Warriors were up against a much tougher Memphis Grizzlies team. At one point, the Grizzlies lead 2-1. Game 3 was a 10-point victory for the Grizzlies in Memphis. Their 2 bigs, Marc Gasol and Zach Randolph, were dominating, combining for 43. Many thought that maybe the Grizzlies might be too much to handle, and panic began to rise in Dub Nation. The Warriors needed their stars to step up, and Steph Curry rose to the occasion, leading his team to victory, in Game 4 scoring 33. The Warriors went on to win Game 5 with a big performance from Klay Thompson. In Game 6, Steph scored 32 and caught fire in the fourth quarter to seal the series. The Warriors once again dominated their opponent and were moving on to the next round. The Warriors were set to face a very tough Houston Rockets, who were led by James Harden, who many believed should have been the MVP over Steph Curry. This series wasn't going to be a cakewalk. Steph had to prove the haters and doubters wrong once again. He did exactly that, leading the Warriors to 2 straight wins at home, to take a very commanding 2-0 lead in the series. In Game 2, a double team on the final play forced a James Harden turnover to win the game. The Warriors then went on the road for Game 3 and blew out the Rockets by 30 to take full control of the series. The Warriors lost Game 4, but ended the series in Game 5. They were headed to the finals for the first time in 40 years.
With us tonight to present the 2015 Western Conference Championship Trophy is a man who 40 years ago, almost to the day, helped win this organization an NBA championship, Mr. Alvin Adels.
Come on, fellas, let's go!
Steph, I think the remarkable thing about the noise inside this arena is that these fans have been this loud through thick and thin. I'm not supposed to be biased here. But this is an organization that even when you entered as a rookie had its periods of struggle. What has been the driving force behind where you are right now?
I mean, we want to win and bring a championship to the Bay Area. They've been so die-hard fans for so long, and they deserve it. I was just talking to Draymond D-Lee. 2 years ago, we were sitting on this court after a second-round loss to San Antonio, thanking them for the support. Fast forward 2 years later, we were 4 wins away from the goal, so this is pretty special.
We went through every task. We went through everything. Everything odds against us. But we here. Let's get through it, all right? By any means necessary. You pick your brother up if he's down.
Same game, fellas, same mission. Be the best version of ourselves every single possession. Let's get this done. Just us. 1, 2, 3. Just us.
The young Warriors were set up to face LeBron James and his Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs had formed their roster the prior offseason to bring LeBron James back. LeBron was very determined to win a championship for Cleveland, but they were already missing one of their stars. Kevin Love had been injured previously in round 1. The Warriors and Cavs had a fiery battle in Game 1, which came down to the wire. Golden State pulled away and won in overtime. This showed that the Warriors were ready to compete and ready for the stage. The biggest news from this game was the more injury news from the Cavs. Kyrie Irving went down with an injury. fracturing his kneecap that would put him out for the rest of the series. This would give the Warriors a big edge over the Cavs. Nevertheless, the Cavs stormed back and won Game 2 where Steph airballed the game-winning three. The Cavs followed up with another win in Game 3, taking the 2-1 series lead. The narrative had gone from Curry praise to Matthew Dellavedova praise. Matthew was gaining headlines for how he was guarding Steph. Many people started to nickname him the Curry Stopper. These claims were quickly shut down as Steph scored 22, leading the Warriors to a Game 4 victory, tying up the series. In Game 5, Steph performed, scoring 35 points with 7 threes. He shut down the haters, and the Warriors went up 3-2 looking spectacular. In Game 6, the Warriors led throughout, winning the game and securing their first championship in 4 decades. This was the perfect end to a perfect season.
First of all, let me thank the fans here in Northeast Ohio, the Cleveland Cavaliers, owner Dan Gilbert, Coach Blatt, on an incredible season. You guys never gave up. You played with passion. You fought through adversity and through injuries. Thank you and congratulations. And now to the Golden State Warriors. Joe Lacob, Peter Guber, Coach Kerr, and this team. What a historic season. And now, you've been waiting a long time, so I won't keep you waiting any longer. With the 2015 Larry O'Brien NBA Championship, the Golden State Warriors.
So we deserve to celebrate today. It's a great day. I was able to experience this for myself, but this is way better because anytime you can see your children, accomplish their dreams and get to this level, it's way more fun, more enjoyable than anything I ever received for myself.
I am getting off.
Golden State achieved what seemed impossible just a few years ago. The Warriors franchise has finally turned around after years of mediocrity and failure. The best part about this was that their core wasn't even in their prime. Steph was 26 and Klay and Draymond were both 24. Their front office was super impressive and they had a head coach in Steve Kerr who just proved himself. The future for the Golden State Warriors seemed very promising. In the 2015-2016 NBA season, the Golden State Warriors were nothing short of great. They made history by winning the most games in an NBA season. The Warriors won 73 games and only lost 9. They were looking like the best team ever. Their style of play was completely changing how basketball was played. The lethal backcourt duo of Steph and Klay were unstoppable. From the first game, Steph Curry was lights out and locked in. A few games into the season, Steph scored 53 against the Pelicans. The type of threes he was making were shots that had never been seen before, and he was making it look easy. In a game against the Charlotte Hornets, he scored 14 points in 2 minutes. He was leaving everyone speechless, and to many was the best player in the world. Klay Thompson cemented himself as an elite perimeter defender and lethal shooter. He was the perfect partner for Steph Curry and a major contributor to the team's success. Thompson averaged 22 points, shooting 42% from downtown. Draymond Green was also a huge factor, defensively averaging 1.5 blocks and 1.5 steals per game. The Warriors were dominant all year round. In the final game of the season, the Warriors broke the record for most wins, and Steph Curry had an amazing game. He erupted for 46 points with 10 threes. This gave him a record-breaking 402 threes on the season. He broke his record once again and was unanimously the best shooter the NBA has ever seen. Steph averaged 30 points this year and was crowned MVP for the second season. He became the first ever unanimous MVP in history.
The first unanimous selection in the entire history of the NBA. He is a player who reinvents the game every time he takes the floor. He is your 2016 Kia Most Valuable Player, Steph Curry.
The Warriors went into the playoffs with one goal, which was winning a championship. In the first round, they were set up to face the 8th seed Houston Rockets. To no surprise, the Warriors were up 2-1, but in Game 4, a scary issue occurred. Curry had tweaked his ankle in Game 1, which sidelined him for Games 2 and 3. The bigger issue was that in Game 4, Steph slipped and injured his knee towards the end of the half. When Game 5 came around and Curry was on the inactive list, fear began to rise. He would be out for the rest of Round 1, a major blow to his team. Panic began to rise from the fans, and critics believed it was over for the Warriors. Nevertheless, the Warriors were unfazed, winning the series in 5 and moving on to Round 2. Up next was the Blazers, led by star point guard Damian Lillard. Steph Curry remained out for the first 3 games. Klay Thompson took over, scoring 37 in Game 1 and 27 in Game 2, winning both games. The Blazers stole Game 3 at home, saving their season. As suspense began to build up for Game 4, Steph Curry was set to return. He was finally back, and this made things very interesting. And boy, was it. In Curry's return in Game 4 of the series, he completely dominated the Blazers and was unstoppable. He scored 40 points to lead his team to the win. He started slow, but caught fire in overtime. He was hitting 3 after 3 and showed why he was the MVP. He was unstoppable, and he knew it. This was an iconic moment for Steph Curry, and the game will never be forgotten. The Warriors used this momentum to move on to the conference finals to face the Oklahoma City Thunder. This matchup was going to be very interesting. A superstar duel of 2 of the best in the world was set to take place. However, what followed was less of a duel and more of a one-sided slaughter. The Thunder swung first, winning Game 1. Then in Games 3 and 4, they won by a combined 55 points total. Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant were completely outperforming Steph and Klay. A nightmare had unfolded, and the only way out was to win 3 straight games, which seemed impossible. A loss like this as a 73-win team would certainly go down as one of the biggest collapses in NBA history. Game 5 was a do-or-die game, and the Splash Bros stepped up, combining for 58 points, winning by 9. Many critics believed that Game 6 on OKC would be the game that the Warriors were sent home. They were already getting written off, and nobody expected what was going to happen next. Game 6 of the series may have been the most impactful and important 48 minutes of basketball in NBA history. The Warriors saved their season as Klay Thompson had an electrifying 40-point game with 11 threes. He was unstoppable and dominated throughout the game. Steph Curry also chimed in with 31 points of his own. The Splash Bros were officially unstoppable. Golden State won the game and sucked the energy out of the entire arena. The Warriors were just too good, and their confidence levels heading into Game 7 were at an all-time high. They won Game 7 and became one of the only few teams to come back from a 3-1 lead. The Warriors were back in the finals, looking scarier than they had in the past.
The Cleveland Cavaliers for the second straight year, and this time things were different. The Cavs were no longer the underman group of the past. This time they had Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love at full strength, so an all-out war was expected. The 2016 finals began with a Golden State W in Game 1 thanks to the bench, and another Warrior victory in Game 2 courtesy of Draymond's 28. In Game 3, with a chance to put the series on ice, Steph scored a measly 19, Klay scored 10, and Draymond put up 6 in a loss. Not the type of production you'd like from your best players, but Game 4 was an opportunity for the Big Three to redeem themselves. Steph Curry silenced the doubters with a 38-point bomb in Game 4, a much-needed performance that guided Golden State to a win. Yet, in the midst of this victory, the second crack formed in the foundation of the Warriors' title hopes. Towards the end of Game 4, Draymond Green and LeBron James got into a bit of a trash-talking altercation. Green was given a flagrant foul for this, and as a result, he was suspended for Game 5 of the finals. Throughout the playoff run thus far, Green hadn't been on his best behavior. He was handed out a fair share of technical fouls, and it had caught up to him. The Warriors now had to head back home without one of their most valuable pieces, but the team had little doubt. To spectators, they were prepared for the situation ahead, but what was shown on the court in Game 5 brought skepticism. The Warriors lost by 15 on their home floor, as LeBron and Kyrie both scored 41 apiece. Complete and utter domination that took the Warriors aback. This series was far from over. Not to mention, in this game, Andrew Bogut suffered a knee injury that would sideline him for the rest of the series. The Warriors now lack their defensive anchor, and this loss gave the Cavs a huge advantage in the interior. Still, up 3-2, the Warriors had plenty of reassurance that Game 6 in Cleveland with Draymond back could go their way. But it didn't.
Curry blocked by James!
The Cavaliers destroyed the Warriors in Game 6 thanks to a 41-point performance by LeBron. And
it's tied with 3.5 to go here in the fourth. Green back to Thompson. Thompson spins, shoots over Irving. Can't get it to fall, and Kevin Love his 13th rebound.
Again, I think Cleveland would be better served to get into whatever they're getting into quicker.
Now we're going to see J.R. Smith probably set the screen, getting Curry in the action. Curry now picks him up. 5 to shoot. James powers, drives down the lane. Layup, missed it. Iguodala contested. Draymond Green kicks it out. Iguodala for 3. Rebound James, and he's fouled by Curry. That's going to be 4 fouls on Curry, 3rd team foul. And we'll take a timeout as we get under the 3-minute mark. Irving will bring it up. James holding, throws it into Love, guarded by Barnes. Love a little jump hook, short, rebound Green. 14 rebounds for Draymond Green to go with 32 points. Curry finds Iguodala, drives, kicks it out, Barnes. Barnes out to Green, puts up a 3. And Cavs get it back with 2:11 remaining.
That's great rotation by the Cleveland Cavaliers. James closes to the opposite corner. Love pulls the trigger onto Green. Terrific defense and very good offense by the Warriors.
And good offense on the Cavs' part in the last possession with Love taking a tough shot. But if I'm Kyrie Irving or LeBron James, the offense is running through me right now. Irving drives, hop step inside, floats it up, misses. Rebound taken by Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection. Wow. His 3rd block of the game as we come up on 1.5 minutes remaining.
But again, get into your stuff quicker.
4 to shoot. James inside, little jump hook, that's short. Rebound tipped and taken by Curry. Curry drives on Irving, pulls back for 3.
Against the likes of Curry and Thompson.
Each team has a foul to give as we come up on a minute remaining.
And they're putting Curry in the pick and roll, trying to get him on Irving.
Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good! Kyrie Irving from downtown! And the Cavaliers by 3.
And I like the no timeout call by Steve Kerr.
Love picks up Curry. Curry steps back, fakes a 3, drives again, shut off nicely. Found to Green, 7 to shoot. Curry fakes the 3, steps back, crossover, puts up a 3. Rebound James with 30 seconds remaining.
What a spectacular job by Love.
Irving on the drive, goes inside, lost it, gets it back and finds Love. There's a 7-second difference between shot clock and game clock, and they had a foul to give, so Barnes fouls him there.
But that's a bad foul, Mike. That
Absolutely.
gives them 3 extra seconds. And what was Kyrie Irving doing in transition?
So James will inbound. Now there's a 4.7 difference between shot clock and game clock. Cavaliers have 1 timeout left. Can go in the backcourt in the last 2 minutes to get it.
But they've got to manage this clock. They don't want to go early.
Irving drives to James, misses the jam, but fouled. Warriors have 2 timeouts remaining. Stays a 3-point game.
And Mike, as a player, there's no pressure right now. You're up 3. Worst case scenario, you got to give them 1 free throw. That should be the mindset. I missed it. You got to step up and knock this free throw down if you're LeBron James.
Warriors will no doubt call timeout. Miss or make here from James. Rattles in the second. 4-point game. Timeout Golden State. Curry runs off. Iguodala looking. Thompson catches. Thompson a couple of dribbles. Head fake. Tied up. Throws it in to Green on a foul on the entry pass. That's the foul to give. And now they'll take it out of bounds with 6.5 remaining.
And you got to make sure you're in nobody's area to allow them to knock down a 3 and you get contact. I lost a playoff game on a phantom 4-point play to Jeff Van Gundy.
Iguodala to inbound. Shumpert trying to stay with Curry. Catches. 1 dribble, steps back, puts up a 3. Won't go. Rebound tip taken by Speights. Final seconds. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
And just like that, the Warriors' historic season was over. They completely collapsed and blew a 3-1 lead. Their 73-win season no longer mattered, and this stung. Steph Curry underperformed the whole series, averaging 22 points while shooting 40% from the field. Klay Thompson wasn't the best either, averaging 19. The Warriors went into the offseason looking to add to their roster and make some changes, and what happened next on July 7, 2016 to kick off the offseason shocked the entire NBA.
The Warriors welcoming Kevin Durant to the Bay Area. The All-Star forward introduced at team headquarters during a press conference viewed around the world.
And the Rookie of the Year, an Olympic gold medalist, a 4-time scoring champion, a 7-time All-Star, an MVP of the league, Kevin Durant.
The news again coming in moments ago, Kevin Durant heading to the Golden State Warriors. How are you viewing this move from Durant?
Well, I'm viewing it as the weakest move I've ever seen from a superstar. Plain and simple. That's just how I look at it. It's not that he's leaving Oklahoma City. If you're not happy there and you want to move on and you want to grow as a player, there's nothing wrong with that. He's one of the top 3 players in the world. He's a quintessential superstar. He deserves all the credit in the world for the talent that he possesses. But the flip side is this. They were up 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals. Not 1, not 2, but 3 different times. He was 48 minutes removed from getting to the NBA Finals by winning the Western Conference. 3 times he failed. particularly in Game 6, and you depart for the team that beat you when you're on the cusp of getting to the finals yourself or ultimately winning the championship for the franchise that you've been with since you've come into the NBA, I think it's incredibly weak. And I don't want to.
Star forward Kevin Durant, who many thought was the best player in the league, signed a 4-year, $164 million contract with the Warriors. This shocked the entire NBA, and many thought this was a weak move. For starters, Kevin Durant had just lost to the Warriors in the conference finals, blowing a 3-1 lead. Additionally, the Warriors were already the best team in the NBA, coming off of a historical season. For Kevin Durant, a top player in the league, this was viewed as weak, and many lost respect for KD. Nevertheless, the Warriors were officially stacked and were looking unbeatable.
Championships in 2017 and 2018. In 2017, they won 67 games and steamrolled through the playoffs with a 15-1 record. In the finals, they got revenge on LeBron, Kyrie, and the Cavs, gentlemen sweeping them. Then in the 2017-18 season, they smoothly sailed into 57 wins, but this time things were different. They had a competitor in the West. The Houston Rockets were eager to destroy this dynasty in the making. Those two teams met in the Western Conference Finals, and in a battle that went to 7 games, the Warriors came out on top. The Rockets missed 27 straight three-pointers in Game 7, and the Warriors overcame a 3-2 series deficit to move on to the finals. In the finals, they handled a familiar foe in the Cavaliers with ease, sweeping them and securing their 3rd championship in 4 years. The Warriors' 2018 offseason was highlighted by the signing of injured big man DeMarcus Cousins. Boogie was, at that point, the best center in the league and was recovering from a torn Achilles. He wanted to win a ring, and what better destination to choose than the Bay Area? This decision left NBA fans feeling appalled at how unstoppable the Warriors appeared on paper. But to Golden State, this acquisition was a testament to how great of a free agent destination they built themselves to become. The 2018-19 season for the Warriors was highlighted by locker room issues with Draymond Green and Kevin Durant, both getting into visible verbal altercations on the bench. Steve Kerr, the coach, and Bob.
And for my own personal sanity, because I've been getting my ass kicked ever since you left. So just for my own personal sanity, how much did our argument against the Clippers drive you to ultimately lead the Warriors?
It wasn't the argument. It was the way that everybody, Steve Kerr, act like it didn't happen. Bob Myers and tried to just discipline you and think that that would put the mask over everything. I really felt like that was such a big situation for us as a group. The first time we went through something like that, we had to get that shit all out. I remember watching The Last Dance, and when Scotty didn't go into the game, the whole team in the locker room said, Scotty, that was fucked up that you did that. We needed that. Mm-hmm. We just needed to throw all of that shit out on the table and say, yo, Dre, K, like, that was fucked up that we even had to go through that. Let's just wipe our hands with that and go finish the task. I don't think we did that, and we tried to dance around it. I just didn't like how all of that, just the vibe between all of that, it just made shit weird to me. And I'd rather us be who we say we are, family first. Communication is key. Like, we didn't show that, and that's what rubbed me the wrong way more than anything.
The 2019 playoffs saw the Warriors reach the playoffs again, but their team was far more vulnerable and depleted than in the past. Kevin Durant had been dealing with a calf injury during the playoffs. DeMarcus Cousins had calf problems, and Andre Iguodala had a hamstring injury. But still, the Warriors were back in the finals for the 5th year in a row and were hungry for a three-peat. However, what followed was a series lost to the Toronto Raptors in 6, and injuries also played a large factor in that. Kevin Looney fractured his collarbone in Game 2 and missed Game 3. Klay Thompson suffered a hamstring strain and missed Game 3. Lastly, 2 of the most devastating of them all, Kevin Durant suffered a torn Achilles in Game 5. The superstar was gone and would now be out for the foreseeable future. In Game 6, in the Warriors' final matchup in Oracle Arena, Klay Thompson tore his ACL, and the Warriors lost. This was a disappointing ending to one of the most formidable dynasties in sports. Kevin Durant then departed in the 2019 offseason for Brooklyn. This brought the end to the big three of Klay, Steph, and KD. The dynasty seemed to be over, and this was sad. Klay Thompson would be out for the next season, and the Warriors lost a star in Kevin Durant. In the following 2019-2020 season, cut short due to COVID-19, the Warriors ended up with a horrific 15-50 record. They ended up last in the West Conference. It was as if the soul was ripped out of the Golden State Warriors. They were just at the top, killing opponents for 5 years straight. In the 2020-2021 season, the Warriors improved with Klay Thompson back earning a 39-33 record. However, they did not make the playoffs for a second straight season. Was the dynasty really over? Many people ruled the Warriors out, but in the 2021-2022 NBA season, they returned to the big stage.
And Steph Curry with a smile, and he is ready to celebrate. Fires away. Golden State had a couple of tough years away from the finals, but they've returned with a championship.
Worst record in the league 2 years ago, beaten in the play-in game last year to a championship.
Draymond Green, a spectacular performance, 12 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists. It was Bob Myers. Of course, Steph Curry with his dad, the emotions just pouring out. It might be his fourth, but it means so much. All the sacrifice, all the work. Boy, these Warriors are ready to celebrate. And that'll do it. It's over. The Golden State Warriors return to their place. They're on top of the NBA world. The fourth title in 8 years. The Dubs dynasty is still very much alive.
Just like that, after 3 years of disappointment, the Warriors were right back on top of the NBA. Despite injuries and roster changes over the years, the dynasty was still very much alive. The Golden State Warriors haven't won a championship since, but with their core players still on the roster, who knows what can happen.